All right, let's fucking go hit arms. It is the same day as the cardio video yesterday. This is just later at night. Honestly, I'm cutting it a little close here. I'll probably only have like an hour and a little bit of change for the whole arm workout. So typically, I'd say I like to have about, I don't know, well, I like at least a 2 hour window where I know that I've got the whole gym to myself in the sense of, I don't have to leave early or leave at a specific time to like, I don't know, go do something or whatever, right? I feel like that kind of, I don't know, like I wouldn't say it puts like pressure on me, but I feel a little bit constricted. I like having a decent portion of time dedicated where I can, go do the lift. And I just don't have to worry about how long I'm in there. I'm not going in there for like 3 hours. Typically, I'm done with, like, once I finish the warm up and I actually start the working sets, I'm usually done in about an hour and a half, maybe hour 45 on the longer ones. Like, arms and legs are typically my longer lifts. Because when I go in and do chest or back, that's just one muscle group, so I'm only doing 11 sets. But, or no, what I'm saying, chest and back. I thought I said arms and back, but whatever. Those days are just 11 sets if all I'm doing is chest and back. But for legs and arms, I've got 11 sets for hamstrings and then 11 sets for quads. And for arms, 11 sets for triceps, 11 for bis. I was just saying in the last arm video, if I'm ever a little bit crunched for time, I may do a supersetting workout, right? Where it's going to be, rather than just finish all of triceps first, what I would do would be, you know, like a set of triceps and then a set of biceps like right after. No rest. Just as soon as I'm done with that set of tries, just jump straight to bis. Just because obviously that's going to save some time. I'm not taking a few minutes in between every set. I'm taking a few minutes in between every two sets, right? If you kind of catch my drift. Now I don't really love that, just because I want to pretty much just focus on one muscle group at a time and then move on to the next one. But if you've only got a little bit, supersetting is definitely a way to speed up your workout, right? Just make sure that you still maintain intensity, right? Because, if you're doing sets back to back, it could be a little bit easier for you to get winded if you're doing a lot of volume. So, just try it with your own discretion. It can be a little bit off-putting to beginners to try new shit in the gym, just because, let's say you've done a couple of workouts in a row that like your buddy wrote up for you, or maybe you looked up a program online and you're like, okay, I like this works, and you kind of don't want to change it up, right? It's kind of like, you're like, why would I try something new if this works? But you know you're not going to get fucking bigger if you just do the same shit all the time. So I'm probably going to fucking sit here for 5 minutes trying to cross into the other lane of this highway, and then we can go fucking smash arms. I'm not exactly drowning in time right now. I got triceps warmed up such that if I throw the whole stack around, it won't feel like tight or anything. Even me with all this crazy shit, my elbows still get sore, right? But I take enough time to warm up that once I actually start doing my sets, they're nice and warm. So I think I'll keep it pretty simple for triceps at least. It's probably going to be 6 or, I don't know, a lot of sets of just normal takedowns first. So let's just bust them out and then move on to whatever is going to be next. Wow. That said, I used a little bit of a wider grip. It felt a little bit different. Maybe I'll alternate. But either way, probably 4 or 5 more of these. You know, triceps aren't insanely complicated. As long as you're doing a push down where you can feel that at the end of the set, most of your fucking tricep is pretty fatigued, then you're doing something right, you know. I wouldn't want to do just like reverse grip stuff. I feel like that's more, it's just a weaker movement. It's fine if it's at the end of your lift and you're just trying to squeeze. But in the beginning of triceps, or any muscle, right, you want to just load as much weight as possible. As much weight as possible. Wish this stack was like 100 pounds heavier.
Color happy, honest. Not that bad. It's just more so my shins are hurting the bush. You gotta get to work. You want to get those? It's not as bad as I thought. It's a nice place with 7 or
So this is set number 6. Fucking actually didn't record 2 of them. Whoops. Super good set. Does this clip look any different than the other ones? Should be I think it's in cinematic mode. I may have to review the footage, see if it looks any better. Oh my goodness. I decided to cut tricep to 10. I've only got 30 minutes for buys. And that still fits my recommendation. Like, for the most part, within 8 to 12 reps, as long as your sets were hard, you should be pretty much fully pumped. And I definitely think that that was an effective lift. So, rather than cut bicep short, you know, I'll just possibly risk missing 1 set of tries, then hitting buys the same as normal. So I curled the 30s for a few, curled the 65s for a few. I did the 80, I grabbed the 85s, so I did like kind of a hammer curl-ish. 85s felt too heavy. So 75s should be perfect. The logic of using the straps with these heavy dumbbell curls, it's just because it's fucking heavy, you know? And I'm not trying to work my forearms by gripping the fuck out of these dumbbells. And then when I put them down, like it's fucking hard for me to release my fingers. You know what I'm saying? So using the straps on the heavy curls, I feel like it just kind of lets me take my forearms out of the equation and just focus on pulling with my bicep, right? So let's throw these around. Yeah, those are feeling pretty fucking heavy. All right, you know, let's move on to a new movement. That feels good, but I don't know if I really want to do any more of it. One thing with the heavy curls like this, where I'm kind of swinging it, and I'm going so heavy that I want to use straps so I don't like work my forearms, is it does kind of get some trap activation. And I'm not trying to work my fucking traps, you know, I'm trying to work my biceps. So I think let's move on to more of a, I don't know, something. I'll figure it out. Just single arm cable curls. Nothing complicated, you know, moderate-ish weight. We'll just try to get a good squeeze. The cable's perfect for like, you know, just trying to get some, like, I don't know if I can say it, for like squeezing sets where you're trying to go a little slower and focus on the contraction rather than like those dumbbell curls when I was just throwing it around, right? Cables are perfect from that because you can't build up so much momentum with the stack, right? Because this isn't like a one-to-one connection. When I do a curl and I move the cable a foot, the weight only moves 6 inches. So, I don't know. If you understand anything about physics, then you get what I'm talking about. But, whatever. Let's just focus on going hard. I was going to try to give one of the preacher curl machines a chance again, but it's just such a weird fucking angle. I don't like it at all. So let's just throw in some dumbbell curls. You know, controlled weight or controlled reps, good squeeze. So the 50s should feel good by now. I'm definitely already sore from those 75s, even though I only did 2 sets. Fuck, dude. Oh. Shit. Dude, those fucking burn, man. Oh, okay, fuck it. Oh, okay. All right. What was that? Only fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gotta roll anyway. My biceps are certainly fatigued. The question of the amount of volume you need per workout is certainly one to be pondered. You know, if you only have to do 6 sets per body part to still grow, I guess that would be ideal, right? That'd be less than what I do now, so less time in the gym. But I'm probably gonna stick to my 11 normally. But if all you can do is maybe half your workout and you still go hard, well, I guess I did more than half, then just fucking do that. Still, I mean, I don't think you're gonna be able to distinguish this bicep pump from any other. It's fucking inflated. So let's go check it out. All right, so even though I cut buys a little bit short today, which honestly, I don't even really mind too much, considering the fact that my triceps are lacking a little bit. But either way, definitely pumped. Let's fucking check it out. Ugh. This flannel might be getting a little small. Very good problem to have, at least. Okay. Ooh. shit. Holy shit. I'm fucking pumped, man. Fuck. Who knows? Maybe I don't need that much volume for biceps. Well, okay, I can't really blame it on that. I had a lot of carbs today, which I should have every day, but the last few days, I just have not been eating enough, like a total fucking asshole. So I may just be feeling pumped from, actually being really full of carbs again. But, whew, I definitely got some fucking bicep stimulation. Can't even fucking touch my shoulder. Ugh. Very good. So, I'm not gonna do calves. Fucking, I recommend calves every time. So, if you end your workout and your calves are not sore, then just go sit on the calf machine. Fucking 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do like 6 or 8 sets each leg, or both leg, both at a time, depending on what you like. And I don't know, that's what I do. And my calves seem to be at least normal. Nobody hates me for small calves. And if you're not doing any calf work, you're just a total fool. You just don't even want it. So, okay, whatever. I don't mean to be mean like that. But arms fucking successfully pumped. Let's get the fuck out of here. Go slam the dextrose shake. All right. Yeah, arms got fucked, man. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I've been doing the 11 set method this whole time. It's not like I think that is the absolute perfect method. It just seems to have worked for now. But like I said, man, nobody knows the exact way to do this shit. So who knows? Maybe I should fucking be lowering my volume. Still do enough work so that I stimulate growth and still get pumped. I've said this before, and I've heard some other like big bodybuilders say this, where sort of their mentality with the lift is they go in, and then once they feel like they're fully pumped, they just cut it. They're like, you know what? That feels like a good pump. Done. Maybe that's what I should be doing. Maybe that's what maybe I'll try that on the next bulk. There's probably no need to really change anything up since I'm about to diet. And I mean, you're training during the dieting phase. It's, obviously it's still important. You should still go hard. Like your sets should be fucking hard. But, the point isn't to grow during a dieting phase. It's just to maintain your muscle, right? And maintaining muscle is far easier than growing new tissue, right? So maybe next bulk change up my training style and try the just go until it feels good method, which I mean, maybe that'll cut my volume down, maybe even fucking half, I don't know. But no point thinking about that right this very moment. Let me just think about slamming this dextrose shake. And I didn't finish my whole intro workout drink, so I think I'll use that as just to kind of wash the flavor out of my mouth. Fuck. So let's just fucking get this shit over with. Oh God. So that's unpleasant for two reasons. For one thing, it's a whole shaker full of liquid that I just chugged. And then another is this is a protein powder that I do not love. Ah. Ah. It's all for the gains though, so well worth it. But yeah, I mean, triceps, that was pretty basic. I should have done some overhead, something or other. But I just don't like doing overhead rope or like, I don't love doing overhead dumbbell. No. Doing like behind the neck dumbbell shit. It just, I don't know, it doesn't feel good for me. A couple of arm days back, a few weeks, I was at this one gym in South Carolina, or no, Hilton Head, whichever one that is. But they had this overhead tricep extension, which was awesome. It was a, I always see videos of Mike O'Hearn doing the one where it's like a cable behind the neck with a little handle, but this one was like on a lever arm, and for whatever reason, it just felt perfect. And you know, I definitely think that I worked pretty much my whole tricep doing the standard push downs. Like your triceps aren't that complicated, but that overhead stuff just gives you a way different stretch than any kind of push down will be able to. Um, Probably similar to skull crushers, but skull crushers always hurt my elbows, and I'll get a little bit of wrist pain too. And you know, for the most part, if something hurts you, probably best off just not doing it. Sometimes I'll throw skull crushers in like mid triceps when I'm already fatigued, so I don't have to go so heavy, and that feels pretty good. But then I don't know, I just don't really feel like I get an awesome pump from it. Skull crusher is just not my favorite. I'd say just the straight bar or the bent bar push downs are number one for me. But I wish they would get like some kind of overhead tricep thing. How much does it really cost, you know? Like, do I have to sign a petition and get 10 other members to be like, we want this machine? I don't know. And then biceps, you know, some heavy ass curls in the beginning, some cable curls, and then back to dumbbell curls again. Even with that, you know, even doing less than my normal amount of volume, I still got pumped to freaking hell. So that was the part that made me think, huh, you know, do I really need so much volume? I don't know. I don't know. You know, because I mean, ideally, the point of going to the gym is you hit each individual muscle as much as necessary. Like you give it the perfect amount of work so that it gets the most growth stimulus, right? Because let's think, would I be as big as I am right now if I only did one set per body part per lift? I'm not so convinced, right? I think it'd be probably at least a little bit more difficult to build strength just doing one set of biceps or one set of chest per lift. I think you would still get some benefit because you are, you know, giving yourself some stimulus with weights, right? Any amount of weight training is better than nothing. But I think there's probably a perfect number for each, you know, individual body part and for each individual person, right? Like, this is now I'm kind of breaking in. I'm breaking in like some Mike Mentzer style shit. His whole deal was you want to just do as little as possible to get the most results, right? So person A, his whole deal was like, you know, person A may only be able to withstand 3 sets of biceps before his biceps have been completely fatigued, right? This is a scientific endeavor, like some shit like that. And then he'll say, like, you know, maybe the second guy, he can handle 6 sets. Uh, so, you know, it's worth diving into the science, but, you know, if you don't actually practice what you're thinking about, then, you know, who gives a fuck, right? That's kind of that's been my little bit of a sticking point against people talking about like science. Well, let's just say quote unquote science-based lifting, because obviously, I mean, everyone wants to have an optimal workout, right? Obviously, you want to get big, and you want in the gym, you want to do what's best to reach that goal, right? But I think it gets kind of annoying when people break it down too much, right? Just getting into niche exercises and just overcomplicating it, you know. Like I'd say the best method is just trying new shit for yourself and seeing what works, right? Because like I was saying about the Mike Mentzer shit, everybody's going to respond differently to this stuff. You know, like there's basic training principles which are going to apply to everybody. Obviously, you know, more load. Well, what am I actually saying here? Blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to say something that is accurate for everyone. Well, now I'm not sure. Obviously, everyone is going to have some sort of reaction to a weight training stimulus, right? If you fucking do some bicep curls, your body is going to react pretty much no matter what. Uh, Stuff like that. You know, if you eat in a calorie surplus, you're going to gain weight. If you eat in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. Those two are definitely fucking true. If you, oh, side note, I don't even understand the point when people post online like calories in, calories out. It's not real. You don't have to count calories to gain or lose weight. What? Oh, I filled up my gas tank with I only filled it up halfway, but that's not going to affect how far I can go. You know, the amount of energy in the gas isn't going to change how far my car can fucking drive. No, man. That calories in, calories out. If you're, I would hope you're not teetering on that idea. That's fucking proven. That shit fucking works. So if you've got a trouble losing weight, let's say you're not like a hardcore gym goer, you kind of just get into it. Maybe you've tried like different diets before or whatever. The guaranteed method that'll fucking work is if you can track your calories every day and stay under your a calorie limit, which you find to be your calorie deficit. You know, because like I was saying about trying this shit for yourself, you can look up your maintenance calories online. You plug in your weight and your age and your estimated body fat and how often you exercise, whatever. And let's say you're a fucking 18-year-old, 180-pound guy, 10% body fat or 20% body fat, and it tells you maybe 2,500 calories. That's your maintenance calorie number. Let's say maybe you eat 2,500 and you start losing half a pound a week. Half a pound a week, right? That number isn't exactly right, even though you plugged it into the calculator, right? You got to just find this shit out for yourself. So getting back to the lifting part, you know, somebody who just, I always sort of say this sort of analogy. Someone who spends a year just researching training, diving into the studies, finding out the best rep ranges and frequencies and the best way to diet, and then they start lifting after they think like, okay, I found out the best way to do it. Now let's jump into it, right? He's not going to make as much progress as the guy who spent a year just, you know, looking up rudimentary information. Obviously, the calories in, calories out, get your protein in, train hard, get a pump, lift a muscle only when it's not sore, right? And then he tries a variety of workouts. That guy's going to do better because his training is just, it's been like narrowed down, assuming that he kind of changes it over time, finds out what works for him and what doesn't, right? All of his time is spent narrowing down what works for him, right? Rather than the guy who's just, you know, trying to find out what's best for like everybody, not even taking into account that, you know, everybody's fucking different. You've all got different kind of genetics and whatever, you know, like this shit isn't cookie cutter, right? The best way to learn anything is to just figure it out yourself. I definitely stand by that sentiment for sure. And if you can take some knowledge from other people who've got more experience than you know, obviously if it makes sense, right? You don't want to just listen to the old head in your gym who learned everything from a Muscle Beach magazine back in the 80s, right? But if you kind of take some info here and there, make sure it makes sense to you and agrees with pretty much the general consensus of lifters, then it's probably good info. The last thing you want to do is just start a split, say you're comfortable with it, and then don't try to improve your training, right? Because not to the extent of like, oh, you got to shock the body, But, if you don't try new shit over time and you don't make sure that you're like doing things to actually progress, then that's a perfect recipe for plateau. I've said this, I say this all the time. I see tons of lifters who just look the fucking same every year, right? They go into the gym every day, they work just as hard as the next guy, but they're just missing a few key elements where if they would maybe go a little bit harder or maybe prioritize their sleep more or get their diet going a little better, make sure they hit their protein and take all the vitamins, stuff, shit like that, they can actually make an incremental progress over time rather than just staying the fucking same. Another little tangent, fucking, in terms of plateaus, the last thing you want to do is get stuck in limbo between bulking and cutting, right? For the most part, I'm not against main gaining, where you hit your protein all the time. You eat as much, pretty much, you just eat as much food as you're hungry for, and then you lift hard. You will gain muscle slowly over time. As of late, I've kind of been leaning into more of the bulking and cutting methods. But, the last thing you want to do is just stay the same, right? What's the point of that? Everybody wants to get a little bit more over time, right? But if you notice your weight is just the fucking same every day, or every few months, and you're looking at your physique pictures, or you're taking pictures of yourself, and you're like, oh, I fucking look the same as last year. If that's fucking where you want to be, if that's just your ideal state, you're like, I like how I look. This is sweet. Good for you, man. That's fucking perfect, right? I'm not so I'm not so satisfied, right? Not in the sense that I'm dissatisfied, but I always want more. So I'm gonna try my best to narrow down my training and get it as effective as possible for me. Right? And that's what you guys should be doing too. That's sort of this whole, I'd say, as a theme of this car talk. That is your number one goal, right? Obviously, you got to train hard. If you don't train hard, you're not going to get any gains, even if you have the perfect split, right? Like that should be your number one priority after making sure you eat and sleep well, whatever else. But after that, right? Don't just get stuck in the same routine, right? Don't be afraid to try new shit. Nobody, obviously, people know what they're doing, right? But all sorts of different workouts work, right? I've seen dudes who are huge fucking doing full body workouts, or obviously the other side of the spectrum way back, fucking Mike Mentzer style guys doing like 3 workouts a week for 30 minutes. Your body's going to respond to all sorts of shit. So if you can figure out what's best for you, which I mean, I still haven't figured out exactly what's best. That's kind of, that's almost like chasing tomorrow. You'll never actually get there, but you can always get closer, if you know what I'm saying. Right? It's like an asymptote. You'll just keep getting a little closer and closer to perfection. So hopefully you take that to heart and maybe start looking up some Jeff Nippert training videos or some whoever else training videos, right? Like, I'm sure there's a ton of, I haven't really got into it. I've kind of just been doing my own shit for a while, but I'm sure I'm probably missing out on some good info from like Mike Isertal and probably like Jeff Nippert, or maybe some of those other powerlifting guys too, like the Elite FTS. Who's that bald guy? I can't remember. Like, anybody who's big and knows what they're talking about, they probably know a little something you don't. So, worth watching for sure. But enough of that. I've got cardio in the morning, legs in the evening, and sleep before both of those. So I will fucking see you next time.